All right, this is tutorial number 3, how to add text to your projects. So the first thing you want to do is all projects should have an opening title card. When you watch any kind of movie, there's always an opening credit. So to get to the text, you click on the button over here that says text cards or just text. And you're going to notice there's all sorts of different types of text that you can use. Um, Amateur filmmakers usually tend to get pretty crazy, but if you want to keep it more simple, sometimes simple is better. So I would suggest looking under these titles right here and expand this see all button so you can see all the different types of video titles that you can use. So here they are. You can count them. There's probably, I don't know. There's a bunch. Okay, so probably you're going to use the ones up top. If you click on a text, it's going to preview over here. So if you notice this trailer cut video, it kind of drops in the trailer. The first word drops in from the top. The second word drops in from the bottom. I'm going to click on this trailer slash and see what's different about that. Those slide in from the sides. With a whisper, kind of comes in quietly and just fades in. So you're going to find a text template that kind of matches with the style of your video. So if you're doing kind of really like a happy-go-lucky film, you might want to use something like bada boom. It's real loud and crazy. Or if yours is more somber and sweet, you might use in a whisper, right? So there's a difference between a motion text and just a static text. Static is text that just is on the screen. There's no transitions that happen. So I'm going to start with, I think I'll use this in a whisper title. So that looks good. Now I want this as my opening title. And if you notice down on my timeline, there's no room for me to put my title in the beginning. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to click anywhere on my timeline and click and drag my mouse over all of my images. And I'm going to slide them back on my timeline so I make room for my title card to come in the beginning. And so all your title cards belong on text track number 1. So here I go. I'm going to select this in a whisper track and I'm going to drag it down now to track number 1. And these title cards are usually kind of long, so you can always trim it up. This one, maybe make it about 3. I'm going to make it about 3 seconds. So I'm going to pull my playhead to where I want it to end. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click O for out. So I'm going to cut that. And again, I can slide all these other clips by dragging them back to where that clip ends. Okay, so here we go. So now I have my title card. I'm going to double click on it. That's how I activate it. And this scale button is if I want the text to be bigger, I can scale it up or I can scale it down. Or if I want to move it around on the screen, the placement, I can just come over to the preview window and move it to where I want it. I think the center of my screen is fine for now. But when you go to edit your actual video clips, you might not want a text card to come right up on the middle. It might just be distracting. So that's a good reason where you can like move it down to the bottom of the screen. You want to think about the placement of your text. Okay, but I'm going to click on this tab right here. That's where you're going to change the words. So instead of saying in a whisper, I'm going to say, let's see, what is the title of my film? My film is called Beautiful Decay. Okay, so I'm going to write the title of my film. And here is where I can change the color. Maybe I want it to be more like a peachy. Just be careful. You want the color of the text that you use. If you have a dark background, should be a lighter color. If you have a lighter background, your text should be darker so that it doesn't conflict with your backgrounds. So I actually kind of like it simple. The gray looks good to me. If I click on this button, right here is where I can change the font style. So your style of font should also match the theme of your piece. So if you have something more wild and crazy, pick a wild and crazy font. If yours is a horror film, click on horror. If you're more elegant, there we go. That kind of looks nice. Beautiful Decay. I like that. So I'm going to choose that style font. And then if you click on this manual button, I can manually use these arrows to make my text bigger or smaller. Or I can just type in here. I think 150 is the biggest you can get it. Yeah. Okay. So that looks good. You're going to change both the color, you're going to change the text, and the style. Actually, I might want to write a film by Miss Lisa. And let me see if I can double click in here. You know what? I don't think this one's going to give you an option to have 2 lines. So if you want 2 lines of your poem for your opening credit, you're going to need to choose a different opening title card. But for the sake of this demo, I'll just use this one right here. So I'm going to save changes. And now if I bring my cursor back to the beginning, my playhead, and press spacebar.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful couch.
You're going to see that coming in. Now, I noticed my voiceover started. I forgot to drag my voiceover back. So I'm going to also highlight my voiceover and drag it back so that that matches up with my video. Okay, so here we go. So now it's going to come in. If I press play, there's my title.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful couch.
Okay, so that's how you do titles. Now maybe you want a title card to come up in the over here on top of this clip. You can have just kind of words pop up here and there, which would be nice. Maybe you want this to this electric snap, right? Maybe you want to add some like emphasis to words that you're saying in your poem. You can drag title cards on top of your video clips like this. So this clip now is going to line up with this couch, and then make sure it matches with where your clip starts. And if you want it to go the length of the clip, you have to drag out the end of the text card so that it matches the length of your clip. All right, so if I double click again, maybe I want this to say, I'm talking about winter. So maybe I just want the word winter to come up on the screen just to emphasize that word. And maybe I want it to be like in an icy blue color. Although that's hard to read because it's dark on dark. So try to find a shade of the color that will work. And also maybe I want it to be like a thicker font, right? So, and I don't like it right there. Maybe I want it to drop right on top of my couch right here. Think about the placement of your text, right? And that size actually looks really good. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. You want your placement, color, and size of your font to match what you're trying to say. So let's see. I'm going to go back in. I'm sort of a perfectionist, so let's see if white looks better. Kind of like white better. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to save my changes. I've already saved the font style, color, and size, and the placement. Now, when I play this back, if I bring my playhead back and press spacebar.
And that couch sat outside for so many seasons. By the winter, it had been covered in white snow.
Okay, and then I notice I don't say the word winter in my line until middle of the clip. Maybe I want this word to pop on when I'm actually saying that word in my voiceover. So let's find where that starts, and I can trim my title to match that. So
for so many seasons, by the winter.
Right here. I think I say winter right here. So around 14 seconds, I'm going to then hover over the edge of my clip and drag it in so it shortens it. So it will around 14 mark pop into my screen. So here we go. So let's bring it back.
For so many seasons, by the winter, it had been covered in white snow. Somebody else came and rescued this couch.
Okay, so there you go. That's your idea of how you can get text to kind of be playful and come onto the screen when you want it, right? So you've got your opening title, you've got some titles that are going to pop into your screen when you want them. Now, the other option is you can use what's called an interstitial. Maybe you want a title to come up between a clip instead of overlaying on top of your B-roll. If that's the case, you're going to, again, highlight the clips that you want to move down the timeline by clicking and dragging your mouse and highlighting those clips. Drag them down your timeline, okay? And maybe I want this bada boom to appear. I'm going to drag this title down in between those two clips. So where the red couch ends, then my title card is going to come up. Again, I'm going to shorten it to probably about 3 seconds long, or it should be the more text you have on the screen, the longer the clip is going to be. But usually 2 or 3 seconds is probably a good length. Okay, and then again, I'm going to highlight those other clips, slide them back down. If you have voiceover, make sure you're also matching your voiceover to the right spot. And double click on your text. Bada, maybe I'm going to say, this couch. And maybe see how it changes automatically to yellow? It's still yellow. Maybe I don't want it yellow. I'm going to want to have it pink. And maybe I want to change this font. Again, it should kind of match. Don't just use any font. Make sure they kind of match with each other. I think I like Flux, that style font. This couch, and then the boom part. Let's see. This couch um, was a treasure. Maybe that's a line of your poem, right? And again, I don't want the blue. Maybe I want it to kind of match with what I'm saying. And I'm going to match the font the same style. Flux Architect. Okay, so there you go. And this, I don't like the size of this one. It's too big. So I'm going to click on manual and I'm going to change this to like 100 and that will make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so that I can save my changes or I can preview first over here. Play. That's how it's going to come on my screen. And then I'm going to click save if I like it. And now you're going to notice what happens. So this is called an interstitial. It comes between an interstitial between your clips.
Rescue this couch.
Okay, and then in that sense, actually, you heard that I cut off my voiceover a little bit. Maybe you're just going to be hearing your voiceover and this title at that point. I haven't recorded that voiceover, but if you did, that voiceover would go directly under this interstitial. Okay, and make sure there's no black gaps between, so everything's pushed together. And then finally, when you get to the end of your video, you're going to need to add an end credit. So end credits, you can do a scrolling credit. Sometimes, let me see if they're in here. Let's go back to text. And I'm going to go click on this title card right here. Captions are for, say, like if you want to identify, if you're doing like a documentary and you want to identify somebody. Here we go. Under special is where your scrolling credits are. So if you double click that, drag it down, this is where you can add your end credits if you want to give yourself some credit for working on your film. So if I double click, directed by Miss Lisa, maybe I want to say directed and produced by Miss Lisa, right? I can delete all these other options. The other thing you might want to put in your end credits that people, if you want to give anybody, if there were actors in your photos, maybe you can put their names in here, like maybe student, whatever their name was, put their name here. And then the last thing you want to do on a credit is add a copyright. So when you hit Command on your keyboard and C, the letter C, see if it works on this. Command C, Control C, maybe it's not going to work. But you can just write the date. So whatever date you finish this film. So I would just keep it general. So April 2022, multimedia arts class. Right. The other thing you can do is add a thank you. So if you go down here, anybody that helped you, you can do thank you. Maybe Miss Lisa helped you on this. Maybe somebody sitting next to you or somebody in the class helped you. Give any like props to anybody who helped you on your project. Okay, and then you press save. Thank you. Let's see. Let's thank. Who am I going to thank? Class of 2024. You guys have helped me on my project. Okay. And then just save. Here's down here where you can change the font style, although I would keep it pretty simple for the end credits. If you want to change any kind of like, if you want it to be left justified instead of in the center, I like it in the middle. Okay. You can change the colors, all that sort of thing. And then click save. And then play. This is your end credits. And the longer the, oh, it's actually not scrolling. Okay. I will show you that in another video, how to make that scroll. But you want to also shorten it up so it's not on the screen forever. Okay, so there you go. That's your end credits, and you're going to fade out. You double click on that clip. Yeah, the position is where you're going to set keyframes to scroll it, but I'm not going to do that on this tutorial. All right, I think that's everything about titles. Again, just make sure you're thinking about the font size, style, and like the color and the placement of your text when you are using it. And that's it. Make sure you add your screenshot for getting credit on this tutorial.